4 centuries, one of the greatest mysteries of Christianity has remained unsolved. Where has the Shroud of Turin been throughout history? How did it survive fires and skepticism? And what does modern science say about this ancient relic? Join us as we uncover the incredible journey of the Shroud of Turin. The Shroud of Turin is believed to be the burial cloth of Jesus Christ. But when does history first mention it? Some accounts suggest the shroud was kept in the Middle East for centuries, hidden from sight. The earliest known references trace back to the 6th century, but was it the same cloth that many venerate today? Some scholars suggest that the image of Edessa, a cloth bearing the miraculous image of Christ, may have been the same relic that later became known as the Shroud of Turin. The legend of the Mandy Lion, as it was called, speaks of a cloth that bore the facial imprint of Jesus, which was later folded and stored in a protective case. The connection between the Mandy Lion and the shroud remains a topic of debate among historians and theologians. By the 10th century, records indicate that a mysterious cloth depicting Christ's image was in the Byzantine capital Constantinople. The shroud was revered as a holy relic, drawing pilgrims and religious scholars from across the Christian world. But how did it get there? Some believe it was smuggled from Edessa, an ancient city where early Christians safeguarded sacred relics. The Byzantine Empire treated the cloth with great reverence, displaying it on special occasions. It was housed in the Pharos Chapel of the Imperial Palace, a place reserved for the most sacred Christian artifacts. Byzantine records describe a cloth with an image of Christ's full body, lending weight to the theory that the Mandy Lion and the Shroud of Turin may have been the same object. Then, in 1204, disaster struck. During the Fourth Crusade, Constantinople was sacked, and many relics disappeared, including the shroud. Some theories suggest the Knights Templar took possession of it, hiding it for over a century. The Templars were known for their deep interest in relics, and some researchers speculate that they protected the shroud in secret, only revealing it to select members of the order. Others believe it resurfaced in France under the care of noble families. But could the shroud have taken another path? The answers remain hidden in history. By the 14th century, the shroud had found its way to France, in the possession of Geoffrey de Charny. The de Charny family displayed the cloth, allowing worshippers to venerate it. Historical records describe how people marveled at the lifelike image, believing it to be the true burial shroud of Christ. However, the Church remained cautious about officially declaring its authenticity, and some clergy members raised concerns about its origins. But how did it later arrive in Turin? In 1578, the shroud was moved to Turin, Italy, under the protection of the Savoy family, who saw it as a prized relic of their dynasty. This marked the beginning of its deep connection to the city. The shroud was housed in the royal chapel of the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist, where it remained under careful watch. For centuries, the Shroud of Turin has been publicly displayed, drawing millions of pilgrims. Some claim to experience miracles in its presence. Many believe that the shroud has healing properties and has brought comfort to those suffering from illness. The Catholic Church, though cautious about verifying its authenticity, acknowledges its deep religious significance. Despite its veneration, the shroud has faced intense scrutiny. Skeptics argue that it could be a medieval forgery, pointing to radiocarbon dating results from 1988, which suggested a 14th century origin. Yet, supporters argue that these tests were flawed due to contamination. The small sample used for the testing may have been from a repaired section of the shroud, leading to inaccurate results. So, what does science really say? The Shroud of Turin has undergone numerous scientific examinations. Pollen analysis suggests origins in the Middle East. Swiss criminologist Max Free identified pollen from plants native to regions around Jerusalem, reinforcing the idea that the shroud had traveled through the Holy Land. The image on the cloth has baffled experts. It isn't painted, nor does it appear to be a simple heat transfer. Some claim it's the result of a flash of energy. Could this be linked to the resurrection? In 1978, the Shroud of Turin Research Project conducted an in-depth study. Their findings? No traces of paint or dye. The image appears to be caused by an unknown process that lightly scorched the fabric. Researchers used high-tech imaging techniques, but they could not determine how the image was formed. Some speculate that a sudden burst of radiation or energy imprinted the image onto the cloth at the moment of resurrection. But what does this mean? The mystery remains unsolved. Despite decades of research, we still don't know exactly how the image was formed. If it was a forgery, why hasn't anyone been able to replicate it? Some artists and scientists have attempted to recreate the shroud using medieval techniques, but none have been able to produce an exact match. If it is real, does this mean the shroud is proof of Christ's resurrection? Science and faith continue to wrestle with these questions. Over the centuries, the Shroud of Turin has inspired countless works of art. From medieval paintings to modern depictions of Christ, many believe the face seen on the shroud has influenced Christian iconography. Artists throughout history have used the shroud as a reference when portraying Jesus in religious paintings. For believers, the shroud is a powerful symbol of faith. It reminds them of Christ's suffering, death, and resurrection. Even for skeptics, it's a historical enigma, one that invites deeper exploration. The debate over its authenticity continues to spark discussions among theologians, historians, and scientists alike. Whether a divine relic or an ancient mystery, the Shroud of Turin continues to captivate millions. Its story is far from over. New research techniques and forensic analysis could provide further insights into its origins. With new technology, could we finally unlock the secrets of the shroud? Advances in imaging, 3D analysis, and AI-driven research could bring us closer to the truth. Some scientists suggest using more sophisticated carbon dating methods, while others propose alternative testing techniques to analyze the fabric and its history. Preserving the shroud is a challenge. Over time, exposure to light and air can damage the delicate fabric. Special measures are in place to protect it, including climate-controlled storage and limited public displays. What steps are being taken to ensure it remains intact for future generations? Experts continue to study the best ways to preserve the shroud without causing further damage. As we move forward, the Shroud of Turin will continue to spark debates, inspire faith, and challenge science. Perhaps its greatest mystery is not whether it is real, but why it continues to speak to us across the centuries. The shroud remains a fascinating artifact that bridges the realms of faith, history, and science. What do you believe? Is the Shroud of Turin a divine relic or an ancient enigma? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more historical mysteries. See you in the next video.